Okay, so for anyone not in the know on this situation, South Park last week aired its 200th episode, and it had something to do with Muhammad. And they last night aired the second part of that with what appeared to be blatant additional censorship and replacement of images and whatnot. And then anyone who went to southparkstudios.com to try to watch the episode anytime in the last 24 hours has found a little note that basically says, yeah, Comedy Central censored a bunch of extra stuff, and we're not allowed to show the image or show the original video that we had created online. We have to wait until we have an acceptable version. And so I'm sure this confused quite a few people as to what's going on. I know I was actually kind of confused at first, but then again I wasn't, because I saw the little bits of censorship and whatnot that had happened beforehand. So I went and I looked online, and I found a good article, which I will link you to at the bottom, that, excuse me, that pretty much explained, apparently, once again, radical fundamentalist Muslims stepped up and had a problem with an image of their prophet being shown, because in the Muslim religion it is forbidden to show an image of Muhammad. And even if you are not a part of the Muslim religion, you are still somehow forbade from showing this image, which I find ridiculous. So I've actually got quite a nice little script here written out, because I wanted to stay on point, because there are a lot of different things that I wanted to say about this, and I wanted to make sure each and every point that was on my mind got made clearly and concisely. So, without further ado, the public service announcement, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video. I see it as two possibilities here. When I originally made this list, I wrote possibility number one as more unlikely, but the more I think about it, I think it's just as likely as the second scenario. So, the first scenario is that this is a stunt, that it is meant to garner attention to the issue of letting religious groups determine what we can and cannot show on TV. If so, it is masterfully done, because it is doing exactly that. The second scenario that I had thought of was that the show's creator do not see the irony of creating exactly the same scenario they joked about in their two-part Family Guy rip-off episode joke thing. I enjoy both shows. I thought the whole thing was fucking hysterical. Anyway, I find that this scenario is hard to believe, as they have proven themselves time and time again to be rather intelligent individuals and relatively in tune with the social demeanor of the nation. So, those are really the two scenarios that you have, that it's a stunt, or it's actually the result of threats and whatnot, and they're not realizing the irony of the situation that they've created. So, either way, it brings up one point. Do we continue to let religious groups determine what we can and cannot watch on TV? We've been doing it for some years, as most of the controlling members of the FCC are devout Christians, and anyone with any intelligence can see that their religious values guide their censorship standards. The good news is that we are slowly and steadily breaking away from that, as more and more people start realizing that if they find a certain content objectionable, they can simply not watch said content. If you don't like it, turn off the TV or change the channel. The power is with the watcher. Nobody forces you to watch anything on TV, as no programmer, writer, or TV or movie star can keep you from turning it off. You, as the viewer, represent the ultimate power in the scenario, not the programmer. But by pandering to the Muslim threats, we take a massive step backwards. We cannot let unreasonable emotions be the dictating factor in a matter of fundamental freedoms. Muslims aren't allowed to portray an image of their prophet, and thus no one can, apparently. That is the most primitive and basic form of social control. If I can't do it, no one can. When we allow such small-minded thinking to dictate what is acceptable, we basically admit that we have not evolved past the mindset which brought you the Crusades and the burning years in Europe, or the Inquisition. When we do things like this, censor a widely popular show based on fear, we give power to the people trying to cause the fear. We say, "Yes, sir, Mr. Muslim extremist. Sir, you're absolutely right. I'll never do it again." And what we should be saying, and accompany it with America's favorite hand gesture, is keep your primitive, outdated, false morality off my mindless entertainment and out of my freedoms. Try something and we'll blow your freaking head off. Because our country is founded on the ideals that no one man has the ability to limit the freedoms of another. And just because our government refuses to uphold the ideals doesn't mean we as citizens have to be complacent and accept it.